Welcome back, everybody, to On the Edge of Shadow here. I am your host and narrator, Blackthorn. Last we left our characters off, they were just off the boat as immigrants in the swamp. No, come on, no, they're not immigrants. They're not immigrants at all. No, they are a fearless and bloodthirsty band of rogues seeking advice from the local Unseelie court as their home village was attacked by this foul spawn, some horrible undead haunting that took its form in the shape of a fairy lord, and he was at the front of a horde of goblins and subhuman, mortal, degenerate things known as troll men with their high brows, not unlike the Neanderthal look with their pronounced canines, dark skin, and dim and stupid looking features. Now, as you guys stand on this long stone dock that is lit about every dozen feet by a sconce that has blue witch fire hanging, possibly hanging from pillars or mangrove trees. You can't quite tell in the thick fog here in the swamp. It casts a rather interesting and not unlike a very spooky hallway one would find at a fright festival at a county Halloween fair. But no, first off, I'm going to ask Skarnir to describe himself heroically, as heroically as he possibly can, please, for our audience. And we'll go down the line here.
All right, Skarnir, the tall, vast mountain of a man, hailing from the Mercian village, holding his two-handed axe, the ever-burning candle high, he strides forward bravely into the mist before somewhat meekly turning back. Granny, what was the plan again?
With the Granny. Now, the village babushka, as we have all come to love and adore her as such, the cantankerous old hag. Yes, no, she hauls herself from the boat, not to be helped by any of the two young pups now left in the skiff behind her. No. She hauls herself from the boat, stands on the dock, and then looks Skarnir up and down. Well, if you wish to march off to your certain doom, then by all means, anger the Fae and march in there by yourself. They're quite unwelcoming of mortals. A, they do not know, and B, that come in uninvited. You best wait for me, child. She goes about taking her merry sweet time of gathering her things, as we all love our grandmothers to do when we're in a blasted hurry, old woman. Now, the other two companions, one a young Nemercian of only 24 cycles old. His name is Scoth, and he has deep auburn hair that he has tied up in braids. He carries a heavy wooden, almost an ovular-like shield with a bronze boss in the center of it, and on his left hip hangs a bronze broadsword. He gathers the rest of his things and hauls himself out. And the last of your companions, a tall and handsome, dark, and dehorned, as this is quite important of his character, Shihan, the Red Blade, is an exiled hunter from his own lands in the Fairfolk woodland realm. He wields a copper-headed spear in his left hand, and over his back is a quiver full of about 12 or so mixed arrows of bronze, bone, a handful of like river clam shells, and possibly some stone-tipped arrows. He's just scavenged from just about anything that he could possibly find ammunition in. Uh, Also, next to the unstrung bow on his back is a broad-headed bronze headed spear, which is the backup, and hopefully not needing the better of the two weapons. But he looks on, still a little miffed that their last conversation with the babushka did not end well for him, as he unwittingly invited an undead haunting into your midst and gave the thing permission. One should be far more mindful of the superstitions of the unliving. You all unpack your things, and you march as one single troop down this stone causeway. Skarner's in front, I'm assuming?
Yes, leading way with his candle axe.
You find in this dimly lit area that if you're able to hold the axe above your head, almost as if you're holding a torch or a glow stick, and it does indeed shed that much more light into the area. So it's one more secret of this magical implement that you've discovered here. A few more minutes, and you walk down farther. It slowly bends to the left. About a 20-minute walk, and you find yourselves as a great wooden, overgrown with vines, a double door corridor, a stone frame. You hear the sounds of satyr piping from within, and possibly the hushed personal conversations of whatever could lie beyond those doors. We have no idea in our mortal minds. What does your troop do?
So we're just passing through, right? Or did we actually need to speak to them about something?
The babushka furrows her brow at you and just kind of gives you this dismissing and discouraging look. We're here to speak to them.
Ah, it was them we needed to speak to.
Yes.
Well, all right, let's find the one in charge. How do we find the one that's in charge? Bayman.
Shihan just out kind of drawn from his revelry. So, well, I suppose I'll knock, shall I?
If you would be so kind. I think you should do the honors.
Yes, I suppose it's my face, scarred and unregal, might be more welcome than your grizzled, bearded face, huh?
Is that a jab?
It can be. He just shoots you a look. Stepping past you, Shihan is about to wrap his knuckles against the door. And the door indeed actually opens towards you by the gods. And you both, all four of you are stunned for a few moments as the door opens with a kind of a low creak. And you see the small form of what looks to be a 6 or 7 cycle old child. Clearly, this child is of Fey lineage, as his hair is as black as night and just as wispy and silky as any other Fey that you've come across. This little boy is clad in garments that seem to be woven of like tree moss and leaves. Clearly a being of the wilds. Possibly something that Skarnir himself has most likely never seen before, and clearly not Skoth, but Shihan has probably heard of such a thing, but Fey children. Oh, well, your superstitious mortal mind and heart is running rampant with the sight of this thing, but he looks harmless. He is holding a frog in his hand. In his two small child hands. He just looks up at you. Mostly at Skarnir. He's the most intimidating and terrifying thing in the doorway. He steps out from the door, holding his frog. His frog croaks. He just looks down on his frog, looks back up at you, and with he takes a few moments to say something to you, but if Skarnir is the first to speak, then you have that few moments to do so.
Noting that it's a little kid, Skarnir will kneel down, getting more eye level with him, so he comes across as less intimidating.
Right.
Greetings, little forest lad. Is the master of the house in?
Again, he does hear you. He gives you a look of recognition. It's almost like it's your language he understands, but it's not his first language. So he takes a few moments to respond, and then with an incredibly thick accent that you need to take a machete to get through, he says, my father, the lord of this court, is in. Yes. And he holds up his frog for you. Do you like my frog?
It is a mighty fine frog.
The little boy smiles. He goes, I was going to put him in the river. Is there any big fish that would eat him in the river? Do you know?
Oh, there's plenty of big fish, but a frog that big would probably eat them.
Taking your word as absolute law in this case, he smiles. He goes, "Oh well, thank you." And he just kind of walks through you as a group, and the little boy on his way. And Shihan just looks over at the boy, looks at Skarnir, and he just a mighty frog.
Yes, a mighty frog. The mightiest.
Have you seen many mighty frogs in your days?
I have not, but he's just a lad. Let him have fun with frogs.
Oh, I absolutely accept he's a lad and he should have fun with his frogs.
I'm not going to go and tell him that, yes, his frog is likely going to get eaten within about an hour or so. Let him have fun.
No, I'm quite certain that he's just fine playing with his frog in the river. But the door is indeed open for you as you're both bantering back and forth.
So is that a invitation inside? I don't quite know Fey customs.
Shihan opens up the door wider to see that the court is indeed full of individuals like the Fey child, and clearly in their adult versions, tall, angular, and stunningly beautiful in both sexes, indeed. Through the doorway, you can see a satyr sitting on the edge of a stone table, and he is playing a set of panpipes there. Just on the table next to him is a lap harp, or in this case, a lyre would be. But Shihan says, "Well, Suppose it looks like they're enjoying themselves, so we will likely not be eaten. And he just winks at the rest of you, and Shion strides in.
Right. Skarnir will make sure all his weapons are stowed. He'll straighten his furs a bit and use his fingers to comb his beard and his hair a bit, dusting himself up as much as a wild man can, and follow in with just as much gusto.
As you go to you kind of groom yourself, and you're about to stride in, the babushka grabs the back of your belt. She goes, "Just come here."
Yes,
She
yes, yes, babushka.
she takes out a little handkerchief. She dips it in the water of the stream just nearby, and then she goes about cleaning your face. And she goes, "You look like hell. You should not be going off, and you should not be going home to your mother or anyone else you hold dear looking like this. Shame on you." And she smacks you in the face.
I straightened my hair. What more do you want, babushka?
You are more of a beast than a man. You should be
Thank you.
acting and looking. She just throws her hands in the air, just as any old woman would say, "Oh, for fuck's sake!" And then just she leaves you.
Wiping his face a bit, then he'll follow in.
As the two of you are, well, the three of you stride into the courtroom. The picture opens up much wider for you. There's a dais, a great ovular dais at the end of this roughly oval yet rectangular shaped room. Um, and sitting atop this dais is one such stone throne where you assume the master of the house sits, a tall, and you clearly see the relationship between the little boy and the master of the house. The master of the house is wielding garments similar to his offspring, and he he has across his chest what looks to be a sash that looks like cured skin. It's not the skin of a beast, mind you. It's the skin of a pike, like of the fish. But the width of this sash would come from a beast that is at least 10 feet long. Is enormous animal. Um, and as you take into consideration, his decor is very fish and river like. Uh, the sconces and lanterns of the area are made of fish bones and the skulls of these predatory pike fish. Um, Over his shoulders is a mantle of what looks to be like a swamp dwelling bear, if you will. But that's the only bit of furs that you actually see on him. Uh, Before him, and a few steps down from the dais, is another very impressive looking Nemercian. Taryn, would you describe your character for us, please?
So the Nemercian that stands before you, he's tall for Nemercian. He's standing about 6 feet and probably weighs about 200 pounds. He has his hair you would describe as scruffy looking. His beard is maybe about a month long, and his hair is slightly unkempt. He has a large bronze sword strapped to his back. His cloak is black in color and a very decent make. If you can see his armor, the armor itself is leather and finely made, but there seems to be pieces of mail, kind of this like almost like molded onto it in random places of different sheens. Um, and if you were to look at his eyes, they're green and they're almost spacey. Like he's not really focusing on any one thing.
All right, well done. Thank you, sir. Now, the Pike Lord here, he will address you thus. He's looking down from his throne and his elegant angular chin in his actually resting on his knuckles. See, I hear your request now. What is it that you would offer in tribute?
Jurek reaches into his pack, kind of fishes around, and he pulls out a carving of a it's a wooden carving of a stag. It's you can tell that it's been charred, like one half of it, the right half is blackish in color. And he hands it to him and states, "This belonged to my youngest daughter."
The Pike Lord kind of dismissively waves to one of his attendants and who walks over to you and holds out her hand for the carving. What do you do when she holds out her hand?
I put it in her hand.
Okay. She will walk back up the dais and place it in the Pike Lord's waiting palm there. And he takes a few moments as he looks the thing over. As this is a stag. We don't have many of these creatures through their swamps. The vines entangle in their antlers, so they stay far away.
Mhm. I heard a story of stags as a kid, so that's what led me to carve this for her. Since she enjoyed the stories also.
Did she disappear in this attack as well?
She did.
I would be inconsolable and unwell to travel if my son were to go missing. And he kind of looks at the door that he had left through a few minutes before, and Taryn, your character was introduced to the Pike Lord's son. You know what he looks like. Um, Little boy playing with his frog. As soon as he looks away, he does see the four individuals that just entered. Uh, his gaze kind of settles on the newcomers for just a few moments, probably a little too long. That wouldn't be natural. Those of us who are standing near the front door, he gives you this otherworldly look as if he's gazing into you. And it is very uncomfortable the way he's looking at you. Not predatory, but analyzing. It's you find yourselves, if you wanted, if you had to lie to him, you could not lie. You feel that he would just see through the lie. There's some sorcery in his gaze. You're starting to feel, but nothing that would require you to defend yourself. Uh, as Now, just to pronounce your character's name correctly, Taryn, it's Jurek.
Jurek, yeah.
Jurek.
Jurek.
All right. Jurek may or may not turn around to see, but If he does, you will see the rest of the party as described before. But quickly he looks.
Actually, he's really focused on the Fae, so he's just looking straight ahead. Almost as if that's like the only thing happening in the moment.
Okay, perfect. So the Fey Lord, he's kind of passing this wooden figurine back and forth between his hands and just kind of rubbing his fingers over the carvings, kind of feeling where the knife bit into the wood. This is enough. I will help you. So long as you do one simple and, for you, quite easy thing for me.
I'm all ears.
The leader of this cult. I do not know his name, and as you can quite well surmise, this makes me very uncomfortable because I know everything in my realm. Do you understand?
He just nods.
I want you to bring me back his head. And if there are any other fine trophies in this attempt that you would take for yourself, please bring them to me as well. I would like to see the fruits of your labors in this. He sets the stag figurine on the left handrest of his chair. And he looks at whoever could be standing behind you. And he waves you forward.
Scarney will look at the rest of the group and with a shrug approach.
So when you do you stand next to Jurek, or how do you guys orient yourself?
Probably stand behind a little bit. He was there first.
So the fairy lord will simply wave Jurek off to the side. It's not to say, well, I'm done with you, but please, over here.
Jurek has enough social grace where he notices this and he kind of backs off to the side.
And to the rest of the party, he says, newcomers to my realm, what do you have for me?
Skarner will give a sideways glance at Babushka and Shihan, just like, what do we have?
The Babushka says, well, he's addressed you first. What would you offer up in tribute for yourself?
So he's looking for a gift?
More or less, an agreement. You could. This is Shihan speaking. You could offer to do something for him or bring him something. We're here to seek their advice, and he almost Shihan shoots a look for the master of the house, and the master of the house. You are looking for advice on what exactly?
Well, we came here because our village was raided a few moons back, and some of our holy icons were stolen.
The Pike Lord shoots a look over at Jurek and then kind of gives him this, oh, more of this look. And he just hand waves us and continue.
But if it's offerings, it's not something on my person, of which I don't have much, aside from some furs. I am a mighty, if not one of the mightiest hunters in all of the land. So, just name it. If you want it hunted and killed, maybe skinned, I can do it.
There's kind of a low kind of giggle or chuckle that kind of like makes its way through the court as some of the men and women of the room kind of take in your boasting, and the Pike Lord says, I don't quite need anything hunted or killed, but again, shooting a look over to Jurek, it seems that my previous guest is in the same situation as the rest of you. How many villages has this demon ravaged, and this cult? So, like, how many villages has this cult raided? Now he's asking all of you, kind of arcing the question to the entire group of mortals.
Well, it's a very good question. All I know is that the group he was leading into ours wouldn't be raiding too much more.
Hmm. And this is correct that he was at the head of a force of goblins and subhuman troll men. Is this correct?
Oh, yes. This mail I'm wearing, I took off of their leader. The big, spooky horse riding guy, he's still alive. Alive? Alive.
Shihan says that this rider seemed as if in life he was once one of the Pike Lord's kind, and this kind of settles on the Fairy Lord in an uneasy way, and he kind of shifts in his seat. It takes a very powerful sorcery to render one such as us of the unliving. I see. As the Pike Lord begins to stand, and he's going to address the rest of the court, the eastern wall, which would be your left-hand side, that eastern wall explodes open with a kind of showering the area with stone, vine, wood, all sorts of shrapnel, and the concussive force of this explosion cuts down a few of these fairy men and women as forth from this hole burst almost these black apparition, almost these wraith-like shadows that begin cutting down and beginning to devour those who are left of the living. And one of the stone pillars that begins to topple. I'm going to need reaction tests from everybody in the party here, quick. All right, what do you got for us, Taryn?
8.
8. Okay.
Oh.
Just throw that anywhere, Steve. Oh my God, that's a beautiful roll there. All right, so now for the babushka. Oh, for God's sake! And finally, Shihan. All right, so as this toppling masonry comes crashing down, you guys are able to avoid the big circular blocks, and the one poor unfortunate fool who was not able to make it was Scoth, as he is spattered almost like a one poor little mosquito. He's all over the damn place, and Jurek and Skarnir are spattered with blood across your faces as the last bit of life kind of twitches in his left hand that is still exposed. His hand disappears in a plume of dust as the entire room erupts into a pandemonium like screaming state of chaos. I need reaction tests from the lot of you, please.
12.
17.
All right. Ooh, all right. The red blade will go on a 19, and the babushka will go on an 11. She goes last. All right. So, Shihan draws an arrow to his right cheek and lets fly at one of these apparitions. And unfortunately, the arrow actually soars through the thing almost as if it was a cloud itself. And that is his action there. Skarnir is the next to act.
All right. Unslinging his battle axe, he'll heft it up in both hands, give a mighty battle cry, and charge at one of the apparitions nearest him.
All right. That is pretty close range there. Takes a few bounding steps up and make your attack, please.
14.
Beautifully done. That actually connects. So as this apparition is what he's doing, or what he, it, she, we have no idea what this thing is, but it's like a cross between possibly a Dementor and a Ring Wraith, as wearing this ghastly wooden mask that seems to be half carved by some demented spawn of a child. But the eye sockets are just two black voids, and from the two eye sockets bleeds kind of a goopy amber like viscous substance as the thing is devouring the guts of this disemboweled fairy woman. It looks up and roll damage, please.
Okay. Now, run damage by me one more time.
It is 1d8 plus your physique modifier. And since you're using it two-handed, it is an additional +2 plus the bonus fire damage.
All right, so 1d8 plus physique, +2 for being two-handed, and I'm +2 for fire.
Yes. So technically +4 for you then.
Yes. That'll be 11 damage.
Oh my goodness. All right. Describe for us how you dispatch this horrible nightmare.
Shouting, making his voice heard over all the din and tumult. He swings the axe right towards that very unpleasant wooden mask.
All right. Beautifully done, sir. What I will give you this time around, for your next roll, I'll give you a bonus D8 for your description there. So now, as you dispatch this thing, Jurek is the next to act.
All right, directly in front of me, what do I see?
About 6 paces forward and to your right is Skarnir, and just a few, we'll say 3 paces past him is another apparition attempting to attack a little fairy child, little
Okay.
girl this time.
All right. Trying to match Mighty Skarnir's fury, I'm going to also scream a battle cry and charge towards that apparition while undoing the sword from my back. And I'm going to come at it charging with the kind of a overhand slash.
Fantastic. All right, roll your attack, man. Would you actually like to trigger your fury as your background is a barbarian this time around?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, go for it.
So what does that give me?
Fury. Now here, you are our first barbarian actually to be rolled up here. Let me check the notes here. Fury is +2 to attack and +2 vitality here.
Okay.
And what is his physique modifier? It's 12, so it's +4, right?
Yeah, it's +4.
So that lasts for 4 rounds there.
Okay. It's going to be 21.
All right, beautiful. So that is that is going to give him a very hard square hit. Go ahead and roll damage there. And since you're also using a two-handed weapon, the mechanics will be the same for you, minus the fire damage.
Okay. Do I add physique to that?
Yes,
right.
1d8 plus your physique modifier, +2.
8.
8 points of damage there. All right, you are going to dispatch him as well. Go ahead and describe that for us, please.
Okay. So, yeah, this is an overhand. It just kind of cuts from his neck down through, probably to his heart, on the center left.
All right, so this thing kind of bursts into kind of a puff of smoke as you destroy and dispel the thing. And the babushka is next to act here. And she draws a bow and she attempts to fire into that black void that the apparitions are pouring forth from. And her arrow does not find purchase on anything. So, and now 2 apparitions will actually come from the shadows and they will attack Jurek for a whopping 9. I'm pretty sure Jurek can defend himself.
Okay. What do I roll for that? For
It'll be
defense roll?
2d8 plus your cunning modifier.
Uh, 15.
All right, beautiful. And that's the first attack. And the second attack will be a 10. Go ahead and roll defense again.
18.
All right, go ahead and describe for us how you evade those 2 sets of bloody, bony claws coming at you.
The first one I parry with my sword, and the other one I kind of just do one of these, kind of like a Neo reflex.
Okay. Perfectly done. Perfectly done. All right, now Skarnir will take an attack here. Ooh, oh shit. Oh my god. We're going to have some blood here, ladies and gentlemen, with a 27 attack here. Ooh, this is going to hurt. Oh, shit. And that's just the first attack, man. No, don't. All right. Skarnir's clocked out. We're screwed.
So what's the damage?
It's not damage. That is a 27 on the attack roll.
Oh.
You have to defend yourself before I roll damage.
Yeah.
You could do it.
In theory, but this 11 is saying otherwise.
Do not forget that you have another die roll from your narrator bonus die there. So this could be it, and those do explode. So
no.
Oh damn! All right. So what was the total attack there, or total defense?
The total for me was 13. Wait, 14. I forgot the +1 from cunning.
Oh no. Okay. So what's going to end up happening is Skarnir will take 7 points of damage as a sickly cold claw made of bones rakes from about the left-hand side of his neck all the way down, kind of ripping his tunic down to about where his navel is. And the second attack here is just a measly 12. We should be able to defend against that, huh?
Well, I beat 12. Do I need to continue doing math?
Okay. So we could probably say, actually, no, you know what? You describe for us how you defend yourself against that second attack as you receive the first one.
After receiving the first one, Skarnir, having never really been hit that hard by something, in a fit of rage, just headbutts the wooden mask and says, "Get the fuck away." Just
improvised attack. Go ahead and attack him quick like. Yeah, actually, you know what? I'm not gonna make you attack. Just roll damage. That's fine. Just roll damage. Get the fuck out of here. Ouch.
That's gonna be 7 damage.
Oh my god, you're gonna kill him, actually.
Yeah, my
headbutt. Skarnir's part satyr. There you go.
Yeah, joys of having a physique of 12 for that +4.
Oh, beautifully done. All right, so now the Red Blade, Shihan, is attempting to step forward and attack the apparition that tried to attack you previously but missed, and he's going to miss horribly as his weapon is ill-equipped to deal with some unnatural things here. And now it is Skarnir's turn to attack.
Okay. What's the next closest apparition?
The one that missed you before.
Got it. Skarnir will swing at it. All right, that is going to be 17.
All right. Ooh, okay. So you actually, you hit, and you're going to do 2 additional dispatch damage on him. So go ahead and roll damage. How dispatch works is if you roll high enough, I believe it is every 3 points above their total defense, you will do 1 additional point of damage.
I see.
So you dispatch on him twice. So
got it.
Yeah, these guys are pretty weak, so you're going to be able to mow through them quite nicely. and they hit rather hard. So that's really good.
Yeah. That's going to be 14.
Ooh, 14 points of damage. All right, describe for us how you light this guy up.
Continuing the emotional momentum of having dispatched a guy with a headbutt, he is going to take his axe and just swing from bottom up to top and try to just knock that mask up into the ceiling.
All right. So yeah, you the mask actually does shatter on the what's left of the stone ceiling there. And Jurek is the next to act here. There are two additional apparitions coming out of the black void there in the eastern wall.
Okay, I was attacked by 2 the last turn, right?
Yes, you were.
Yes. So I would have parried the one on the left and then kind of evaded the one on the right. And
Mhm.
he brings his sword around and attacks the one on his right on kind of a downward slash.
Okay. Go ahead and roll your attack quickly.
A 22.
Oh, nice. All right. All right. He is not going to be able to get past that total attack. So, go ahead and roll damage for me, please.
11.
11. All right. So, yes, describe for me how you destroy these guys. There's this guy as well.
Just kind of it's just a slice starting from the torso, going down to the, it'd be his, I guess, left side, kind of like his left kidney, if he
Okay.
has a kidney.
What these things are is it looks like a skeletal torso of a humanoid. So you've got the skull, the upper arms, the rib cage, but where the spinal column is supposed to like meet the kind of the pelvic bone there. Um, it kind of like just dissipates into nothingness, where they just kind of like float there and very eerily just kind of mutter uh, things in a language you guys don't want to understand and clearly do not understand, but you dispel and destroy that one as well. And continuing this massacre here, out through this dark void in the eastern wall that was created there. These huge bone claws, kind of like they place themselves kind of like on the rims, the edge of this now crumbling doorway, as a mask, not unlike the masks of these apparitions, but almost like a greater form, almost almost as unsettling as if you're a fan of uh, Legend of Zelda, the Majora's Mask there, but just without paint on it, and the thing is just smeared with a kind of a sickly yellow uh, sap and the blood of whatever the thing had devoured previously, as this thing crawls through the darkness and out into what remaining light there is. This thing stands 16 feet tall, and it looks a cross between a scarecrow and one of these apparitions, a gigantic skeletal thing wrapped in burlap, skins, furs, tree moss, dead leaves, dead grass. It's a horrible, terrible thing to behold. And what I'm going to need from you guys is spirit tests. no. Shihan didn't make it. And of course the babushka didn't make it either. Damn. Oh my god, Darren. Beautiful. All right, so everyone but Terran is actually going to gain 3 points of shadow corruption looking upon this thing. And which you guys look upon can only be described as none other than the Reaper King himself. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask for a new reaction test as this thing joins the fray here. All right, so So, as you guys stand kind of in awe and terror of this thing, and we'll say that Jurek is kind of too caught up in his own fury and is probably his personal anguish there, and to kind of like take in any of the fear that just kind of exudes from this entity. What exactly is it that the four of you do here? As the Reaper King simply just looks down at you, not saying anything, not making any moves. He's just looking.
I'm gonna look over. Is the Fey King still here?
Now, the Fairy King was actually killed and was half eaten by the lesser Reapers there.
Oh, how did I miss that? Okay, well, I look at the Fairy King and I see that.
Yeah, it's gruesome. The Reapers, the lesser apparitions that you guys have been kind of skull stomping here for a bit. They've just completely stopped. Yeah, that's yeah, that's pretty great.
So
Thanks,
yeah,
Steve.
Jurek just noticed that the Fairy King, who he came all this way to petition with, is dead, and his entrails are being like devoured, and now it kind of snaps him back into reality, and yeah, he's in slight shock at the moment.
All right. Shihan is just he's gobsmacked right now. It's still also gaping mouth, and he's his spear, the tip of his spear is just kind of like twitching there as it's starting to droop and point towards the floor. As we slowly wind our way back around to the babushka, who she kind of steps forward, like just up behind Skarnir, and then just kind of like tugs on the back of his tunic there for a moment. And she goes, he won't attack if you don't make any threatening moves. But just she kind of like thinks there for a little bit. And the babushka steps past you And she's got to walk past Jurek there for just a moment there too, and she takes off of her kind of like her messenger bag thing there, and it's got her belt, and she hands her belt over to Jurek, and she takes out her her lucky ebon filleting knife. She goes to stand before this the Reaper King. So he's just looking down at her, watching her all the way. She just looks back at you three and says, "You should leave now." Just seeing your confused look, she goes, "You should just leave. Just go on now."
Jurek's not going to leave. He's going to watch, see what happens.
Shihan isn't gonna leave either. He's just he wasn't very close to the babushka, and since they had their argument, he's been kind of bitter towards her. But he's really a little more concerned now than ever before. What is Skarnir's reaction here?
Now, Skarnir grew up with the babushka.
Of course.
Skarnir was raised to respect the babushka.
Of course.
To listen to the babushka.
Of course.
When the babushka says leave,
you fucking leave.
So Skarnir is going to, as quick as he can, move near Jurek, grab him by the back of the collar, give him a quick jerk back, and then moving back towards Shihan, like put a hand, like arm around his waist, like, we're leaving. Go time. Go time is now.
So now her arms are kind of like outstretched, laying above her head, and she starts actually Taryn, your village would actually also have a babushka.
Oh, okay.
And you guys would have the same customs. We'll say that when your village was raided, the babushka residing there actually perished in the fighting too. So you also do know that when the babushka speaks, as regardless of it's your babushka or another village's babushka, you listen when they say things. But it's completely up to you. It's up to you if you want to stick around and see this.
Yeah, like Skarnir didn't drag Jurek, he just gave his collar a quick jerk.
Jurek's really hesitant, but he does go with.
Okay.
He leaves.
Are you guys there's the front door, and the front door that you guys came in, or there is the west exit that was on your guys' right hand side. Which door do you choose there?
Which one did the Reaper King come through?
The east wall.
The east wall. Okay,
Yes.
so it sounds like west is furthest away.
Exactly.
So let's go west.
West sounds great.
Okay, so you guys quick shuffle out through that door as you leave this blood-soaked carnage here. I need awareness tests. I want to see who notices what just before you guys leave.
$14.
10.
All right. Ooh, double sevens from Shihan. Better buy a lottery ticket. What do you got for us, Steve?
14.
14. All right. Okay, so you all saw it. The smaller apparitions, the Reapers, actually kind of retreat away and back through the door that they came through. As the babushka she starts to chant this low sutra and kind of like going through like the paces of a ritual that she knows. And one of the ladies, the Fae women, she kind of runs over to the corpse of the Pike Lord, and she kind of like just rests his it's kind of like his blood caked head and his hair kind of matted to his face there, kind of in her lap there. She's weeping, and she sheds the tears of someone truly in grief. There may be a connection between these two entities, romantic or otherwise, we don't know. But the last thing that you see before, who is the last one through the door? I'll ask before I continue.
Garnier would be the first one through, so not him.
Since I hesitated, I'll be the last.
Okay. All right, so the last thing that Jurek the Just sees as he closes the door is the babushka slashes her throat open, and she collapses right there in front of the Reaper King. And he stoops down to pick up her corpse, and you see him bring it to like the face of his mask as the door closes. Now, describe for me how you are hauling ass the fuck out of here.
Very quickly, fire axe out in front of him, back towards the boat.
Okay, so
Well, I asked the obvious question. Do you guys have a boat?
Yes. Keep an eye out for the lad, the little boy. He might still be alive.
This is actually not the door that you came through that actually has your boat in it. So you guys are sprinting down this stone causeway. Kind of your boots and your sandals just kind of like thumping all the way down this dock as you see another one of the Fae women. She's kind of like knelt down in front of, and lo and behold, the little boy that you just spoke about. He's not holding his frog anymore, and she is. You just walk in on this this conversation. She begins with a kind of a shaky voice with a catch in her voice. She says the master of the house has been slain. The Reaper King has come and attacked. You're the only one who's left who can take his throne. You need to leave this place, hide away, go to where your father told you to hide, and stay there until someone comes and gets you. And the fairy boy isn't. There's no tears. There's no nothing. And this kid is stoic as hell, getting all of this all at once. As you guys thunder down the dock there, he kind of just looks up at the three of you. And tears start to well up in the little boy's eyes. What do you do?
Are you two all right?
The Fey woman just nods, but doesn't say anything.
You have some place to go.
The the fairy child, he just nods as two small tears kind of stream down his cheeks.
We have a boat if you need a lift out of here.
And he just says, "Well, the boat that you came in is around the other way, and it's unsafe to go through those halls now."
There's no way to get back there?
Not if you want to swim all the way around.
You know of any other boats then?
He just points down the dock a few dozen feet away, and you see two what looks to be boats that kind of, they look like they've been made in the Fey fashion, and on the fronts of them they actually have that blue witchfire lantern that you've been seeing since you got here. He goes, "Well, you three can't swim there, but you can have those." I am the Pike Lord now.
Well, little lord, as I said, you're welcome to come with us. It might be a bit safer. Otherwise, if you've got someplace safe to go, I would recommend you go with haste.
He looks back at the woman attendant, and she just nods and says, "Well, if you feel that you can go with them, or you can hide away deeper in the swamp." He just looks back up at Skarnir and says, "No, I will go with these mortals, and we'll part ways. I'll see if I can get them out of here too." And she stands, and then she walks you four now to the dock. You guys load up one of those boats, and the fairy woman just takes a step off of the dock, and into the drink she goes. She as soon as she kind of like gets submerged, like the top of her head goes down, if you're actually looking, you actually see her form kind of shapeshift into a pikefish, and just swims off into the darkness. I'm going to assume Skarnir is the one who takes up the oar, and you shove off.
Yes.
All right, congratulations,
you
guys.
You know how to work a boat better than I do.
I can count the amount of times I've been on a boat in one hand.
Fascinating. My name is Skarnir. What's yours?
I'm Jurek. This is not the best of circumstances for meeting, but it's nice to meet a fellow Nemersian.
If nothing else, it's memorable, if somewhat somber.
Yeah, I won't forget it.
Yes. Anyway, we should get as far away from here as we can. So Skarnir is going to oar hard.
All right. Perfect. You're gonna put as much miles between you guys and the fairy court. And since the babushka is no longer with us, she was our guide. So
I'm sure between Skarnir and Sheehan, we've got enough wild lore and travel.
God, we hope so. All right, let's take a 15-minute break here, and we'll pick this up in a little bit. All right. All right, be right back, guys. All right, gents, I'm back. So what do you guys think? That's pretty bloody, isn't it? I've been working it up for weeks. There's going to be a bloodbath.
Like that hit you got on me. You're just like, oh, here it comes. And it's like, oh, 7 damage. Okay.
Hey, man.
I
7
mean,
damage can
I
take somebody out.
guess if I had less than 20 health, I would be worried.
Oh, right.
After that,
Are you saying that I need to hit you harder, Steve? Hey.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I'm saying. Oh, come on now. You know.
Good. After that hit, I'm sitting at 17 health.
Oh, well.
20 health hacks.
I have 24 to be exact.
Oh, excuse me, sorry. Double mine. I don't know.
Skarnir
More
is
conditioning points, I guess.
quote unquote a beast.
There you go.
He's got this big fur cape that when he spreads it out, it looks like it's got giant animal eyes on the inside to help intimidate things.
He's a pretty big, scary dude. For a Nemersian based off Tormund Giant's Bane. Yeah, he's kind of pretty great.
Oh, is that the basis? You keep posting Tormund. That's what I'm wondering.
Oh, yeah.
Thoughts on the last season?
I didn't hate it as much as everybody else did, but I didn't like it as much as some people did.
Yeah. The cinematography was awesome. Like,
Oh yeah.
As much as people might hate the whole like King's Landing being destroyed, the way it
The
looked.
only part I absolutely detest about the last season is how they wrote out the Night King.
Yeah.
Like it felt like such a cop out. Like I had been waiting for that moment since episode 1, and my least favorite character in the show gets the kill.
You and Cameron or Rafe have something in common then.
Like
I can't stand a Song of Ice and Fire, guys. I know I'm gonna be demonetized on YouTube for this, but yeah.
Yeah, like love Game of Thrones. Like I've even been working on a Game of Thrones tabletop RPG.
There you go. Those are fun.
But yeah, Arya is hands down my least favorite character, and I've been so looking forward to the climax of the Night King's storyline. And then
yeah.
So as far as I'm concerned, that episode ends with the Night King and Bran having a staring contest. Cut to black. He dies off screen.
Beautiful.
I know. I wanted the Night King to kill Cersei.
Yeah, like
or
I
Rey
would
in
have
King's
totally
Landing.
gone in for the long night happens. The Night King wins.
Mm-hmm. Oh well, maybe some fan fiction will come
Yeah.
out.
Oh God, come on, fan fiction.
They all abandon
Yeah, it's not all
Westworld.
bad.
Sail off to Essos.
I'm all about some of the Star Wars fan fiction.
All right, guys, back in character here.
All right.
Okay.
So, how long are you rowing for? You're not rowing until you drop, but you're rowing.
Yeah, rowing for at least probably an hour.
Probably find a stream, a good current that'll do most of the work for you.
Mm-hmm.
Is that the little ferry boy? He just sits at the front of the boat with his hands in his lap, just kind of looking at the three of you, and Shihan is visibly shaken by the encounter, as Faye do not take well to the darkness, and thankfully, mortals, for some reason or another, they're a little bit more fortified to corruption than Faye. So Shihan's gonna be not out of commission, but pretty winded for maybe a couple chains yet. So what you're gonna have is kind of a quiet portion here, if you guys would like to role play amongst yourselves, or tell me where you guys actually plan or desire to go at this point.
Skarnir's general idea is back the way he came as best he can.
Well, I'm gonna say it. How do we kill that thing? Do we have any ideas?
Well, if I had to take a guess, bear with me. We get a big ladder and hit it in its face.
We're gonna need a big ladder.
Yes, it stood at least 3 meters tall.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or I'll stand on your shoulders, and then we'll have someone stand on my shoulders, and then maybe the kid can poke it in the head.
Ah. Or, bear with me, we throw the kid at him.
The kid just kind of looks up at you a little frightened.
I'm kidding. It was a joke.
Is this what mortals call humor? Is that what it is?
Roughly, yes.
Ah, I see. I see. I don't know many mortals, so your kind are strange as well. I'm probably strange to you.
Yes.
He just kind of smirks.
Yeah. It's called gallows humor, and it's reserved for times you know you're totally fucked.
Yes. Well, my little lord, my name is Skarnir. What's yours?
When I was born, my mother called me Phenelon.
Phenelon.
Yes. He looks over at Jarek and what is your name?
I am Jurek.
Well, pleased to meet you. She just kind of like gives you this I don't know how to make this better expression.
Jurek,
What you end up
kinda,
doing with your bullfrog?
Oh, I let him go. I got another one. He pulls a frog out of his pocket.
Ah. That one's even mightier than the last, I can tell from a glance.
The kid is still pretty shell-shocked, but you can get a smile out of him with that anyway. Shihan introduces himself. I am Shihan of the Fair Folk, or I used to be. And the Pike Lord, the young Pike Lord. It says the Fair Folk take the horns off of their the members of their family that displease them. I know that much. And he just nods, and not necessarily wanting to explain any further, because well, what's a kid gonna know of crime and banditry? But he just leaves it at that. But Phenelon, he says, who was that old woman that was with you?
That was my village's babushka, sort of our village elder.
He doesn't say anything, but he kind of gives you this knowing, but my condolences kind of look.
Yes, I don't look forward to reporting it to the village. As crotchety as she was still well respected amongst us.
This this boat ride along this river, if you follow it, you're going to be on this river for good several days, actually. We'll see. What is your guys' top priority? Are you guys meaning to escape the forest? Because it's going to be pretty difficult to find your track to get back to the Misty Wood where you guys started. So that's it's kind of up to Skarner. He's got the highest grades in traveling at this time.
After about an hour of putting some distance between themselves and the little massacre, Skarner will slow the pace a bit and, all right, we should figure out a plan going forward. I usually travel alone and don't worry about plans, but now that there's a bunch of us, I suppose it's probably not a bad idea to get one. So one option is we can sit on this river for a while and let it do most of the work. Stay on it for however long it takes us to get out of this damned woods and try and find our way back to whatever speck of civilization there might be. We can run around for a little bit, trying to find where we had come from before. Jurek, where do you come from? Is it along this river by chance?
There's a problem with that. The village I come from is no longer. And pretty much my last plan was the Fairy King.
I see.
Who is now deceased.
Well, my condolences. Really not good at this kind of thing.
Yeah. I should have stayed. I should have attacked that thing.
I've hunted things bigger than myself my entire life, and I've got a very good gut feeling for when it's not worth charging at something. And that was not worth charging. Not yet. Someday in the future, maybe.
Well, that's my plan then, is to find someday in the future.
That's a very broad plan.
Oh yeah. I plan on making it more specific.
Yes, I'm looking for like a week out. Don't suppose. Hey lad, do you know any villages downriver that we might come to?
The only village that I know of was the one we were just at, mine. I do not spend time with mortals or he just kind of looks down at the frog in his lap and then just kind of looks up at the three of you. He goes, "We're in trouble, aren't we?" And he just kind of gives you this.
No, we're not in trouble. We're out of trouble. Compared to that, trying to figure out where to go is fairly relaxing.
Jurek takes a drink out of his water skin. He's like, "Don't listen to him. It's totally over for us."
Shihan just looks over shocked and goes, "You're speaking to a child, an immortal child, but a child."
All right. Here's the plan. We'll ride the river down, get to the edge of the forest, and we'll start winding it around. Or once we're out of the forest, we'll disembark, start skirting along the edge of the forest until we get back to a rough heading to where we can figure out where me and Shihan, Babushka, and our other now deceased companion Scott came from. I imagine it should take at least a couple weeks. A few days to get to wherever the edge of the forest is on this river. several more to skirt the edges of the woods, and a few more to get back to where we came from.
And so the young Pike Lord just takes in all of this and he nods. There's a place where my people can hide if set upon, but I can't take you there with me. Unfortunately, you're not Fey like me.
What if we wore really fancy hats?
You couldn't even do that, really. They'd need to be very fancy.
Well, I suppose if nothing else, we could see you safely there and then make a plan from that.
Well, he just kind of peers around. If we follow this river, then we should be able to find our way part way there. I mean, I can swim the rest of the way. It won't be far.
Goodness no, lad. We're not gonna make you swim somewhere when we've got a perfectly fine boat.
Like a fish, and he does this with his hands on the side of his face like gills. There's no like a fish.
Like the thing that woman did.
Yes, I can do that too.
In that case, be my guest. I guess.
But Taryn, I'm gonna rule that you probably have about the same amount of traveling provisions as everybody else had. Which you guys started this expedition with about 22 days worth. You guys crossed off about a week, so that'll bring you back down to about 12 days worth of rations. So, right, okay, so I'm gonna do a bit of randomizing here for you. Oh, perfect, actually. Skarnir's got grades in traveling, correct?
Yes.
And wilderness lore?
Yes.
I gotta check Shihan and see what his are. I don't know if he's got traveling. He does have traveling, actually. Fantastic. How many grades in traveling?
1 and an edge.
Okay, so yeah, you guys got the same amount. What is your spirit modifier? Or see your cunning. Oh, sorry.
Cunning modifier is +1.
All right, then Shihan's gonna take it this time around. All right, let's keep it on the table. Come on now. Get with the program here. Now, he's gonna score a 19 on his traveling. So after a few hours, he's gonna take the oar. And he's gonna pick a waterway that'll get you guys quicker to the edge of the swamp. He's gonna shave off about 4 days of travel here, so you guys will make the edge of the swamp, and you will finally see daylight for the first time in a grand total of. Let me check my notes. You have been gone from the Misty Wood Village for 2 months. So that would be 87 days total. Hooray, I know, right? Now, to the edge of the forest, the edge of the swamp. The Pike Lord has already left you at this point. Said his goodbyes. He thanked you for the sanctuary that you'd given him, and he promised that he would not forget your kindness and your reassurance. and that if you ever needed anything of him, that he would look kindly upon your group, and that you may call him friend. As that little boy left you, he jumped off of the boat and he shape-shifted into a much smaller pikefish and disappeared into the drink.
Goodness, that is fascinating. That said, we should be careful if we're ever spearfishing.
Jurek actually laughs at that.
And Shihan chuckles as well and says, I am never eating fish as long as I live now.
That seems to be a bit extreme. I mean, not every single one is going to be a fae.
Well, no, I will not eat fish from this swamp or these rivers again, but I will. Yeah, that's all right.
I'm just thinking of multiple times I've enjoyed pike from this very swamp.
And Shihan says, well, how many fairies have you eaten in the form of fish? Then he kind of shoots you a smirk.
I mean, how does one know? 0 as far as I know.
Ballpark estimate around 3.
Like I said, once you make the edge of the swamp, you beach your boat. You walk up onto the now firm ground, and it's a little uncomfortable as you guys have been used to the wobbling of a canoe beneath your feet for some time. Probably not Jurek, since he's probably walked from his village to partway where where the court was. So I think right here, as you guys are gathering yourselves, we will call tonight's session right here, and we'll meet up next week. All right, guys, thank you for tuning in. Sorry about the delayed start this evening. We'll be on time next week. Thanks, everybody. And Taryn, welcome back, man. It's been pretty brutal without you, man. And we missed
it's been a
you.
long year.
All right. Good night, everybody.